It's been about 4 months of operations for South Africa's Shesha e-hailing app, and we see those within this particular industry hosting us today on a media briefing in Johannesburg. We see them just trying by all means to address some of those issues, safety concerns just rife, and this coming through at a time when we see them saying that they want this particular app to work, but some of those stumbling blocks will have to be addressed going forward. We know very well that today they were joined by members of Santako and those from the National Taxi Alliance in addressing some of those issues. They'll join us now on the SABC, this being Rebecca Pala. We'll start with you from Santako to just give us a sense of really the concerns that are coming from this space. We understand that you're also just even embarked on disciplinary hearings and the likes just to address some of those issues as we see you solidify your partnership with Shesha today. Welcome to the SABC, Rebecca.
Thank you, Katlego. Look, we as the taxi industry often find ourselves, being said to be linked to a lot of criminality that happens on the ground in South Africa. So it's no different that even with the introduction of this collaborative effort with Shesha that we have as the taxi industry, we've found that some criminals have found loopholes and have decided to come into the work that we do, violating South Africans in our name. And so we've seen a need to come and converge in the manner that we are today, to remind South Africans that there still has not been an overwhelming amount of cases that have been opened and the people have truly been found to be taxi operators who violated South Africans. And yet we are considered to still be accused number one. So we're here to remind them again that all that we want is to operate clean and honest public transport businesses and to venture into that which we understand will complement that which we want to achieve at the end of the day.
Yeah. Let's bring in Mr. Malele just to give us a sense of what are some of these cases. What are people saying to you when you embark on these disciplinary hearings? What are some of the cases that you've picked up that can be attributed to the Shesha app and the work that you guys have been doing as the National Taxi Alliance?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Once we saw the video doing the rounds, we started doing the investigations as to which associations that was, and we shared that with our counterparts because it so happened that it was a Santako association, but I can tell you precisely how the whole disciplinary process went. They have identified those that were seen on this video, and then punitive measures were meted against them. And we've also sent out a strong message to all would-be perpetrators of such barbaric, violence to refrain from such. And we invite law enforcement agencies to take their part. And we also urge the community masses to report all these incidences of intimidation and violence without any, waste of time.
Back to you, Rebecca. How important is it that we see the Shesha app work? I mean, I know very well that the economy would be looking towards such innovations to come through here. We talk about issues of job creation day in and day out, looking at the gap that has existed over time, even within this particular industry. How important is it that we see Shesha working within and operating within the taxi space with you guys from the minibus taxi industry?
Look, South Africans are not oblivious to the reality that when e-hailing was introduced, it's now 13 years. It hasn't come as a smooth sail. People have been violated. People have had their belongings taken. In some cases, we've also heard of people even being raped in some instances. So the reality of the matter is when e-hailing was introduced, it wasn't properly regulated. And as a result, because South African commuters and their needs are changing, they've had to embrace it, but some of them have been burnt in the process. So Shesha has to work because it's an app that's developed by people that South Africans know, who speak their language, who they can relate to, and so accountability should not be a problem. But also, again, the importance of job creation that you've spoken about, it's important, right? Because these foreign-owned apps have been plainly exploiting our South Africans. People have to work long hours, and the amount of money that they're making in comparison to that which leaves the country is absolutely upsetting. So this is something that needs to be embraced by just about every South African, because our livelihood literally relies on it, especially when we face this high number of unemployment and this urgent need for people to be transported in the varied ways that they may, especially when you think of people with disabilities, right? The elderly, women, and people of that sort. So we have to make sure that the public transport network that we have is able to cater for just about everyone.